A gracious evening to you all televiewers. Many thanks for joining us on the 6:30 Prime News on Mamiza Prime Television with me, EILEEN Sama. Women in the northwest region of Cameroon, amidst ghost town and tight security in Bamenda, braved the odds to celebrate this year's March 8 International Women's Day. Celebrations at the Bamenda Commercial Avenue was presided at by Northwest Governor Adolphe Lele-African wife. He called on the women to use the Women's Day as a turning point to the socio-economic and political crisis ongoing in the region and be agents for peace. Charles Kebwa reports from Bamenda.
2 years since the 2020 Women's Day celebrations in Bamenda that witnessed an explosive at the Commercial Avenue, women in most parts of the Northwest region joined their peers, national and international, to celebrate this year's 37th edition of the International Women's Day amidst ghost town and tight security.
The traditional leaders at the beginning of the crisis, they have taken necessary measures to secure the region. And if you are able to celebrate joyfully today, it is thanks to those measures that has been put in place to secure not only the headquarters of the region, but the remote areas, including the border of the region.
Celebrations at the Bamenda Commercial Avenue Grandstand March 8 was presided at by Northwest Governor Adolphe Lele-Afrique and wife. Call on the women of the Northwest region to use the day a turning point on the socio-economic political crisis ravaging the region. Seek peace and ensure peace.
To those of our boys who are sitting in the bushes to come out of the bushes and join their friends, to rebuild back better this region. I'm also appealing to the diaspora and to stop intoxicating the masses and becoming agents of peace wherever they are to give chance to peace in our nation.
The women of the Northwest region, through their representative presenting their plight, said most women have abandoned their farms because of insecurity, and they've cried too much as women, burying their children to loved ones. Appeal for an end to the ongoing Anglophone crisis, a hindrance, she said, for tomorrow's sustainability.
It has rendered the women vulnerable. Most of them, they have abandoned their businesses and their farming work. So most of them now they are at home, they are mourning, they have lost their children, they have lost their businesses, and they have income.
Celebrating on the theme equality between women and men, today for a sustainable tomorrow, to the Commissioner for Health and Social Development at the Northwest Regional House of Assembly.
If a woman is educated, meaning that a woman should be empowered, if a woman is empowered economically, socially, politically, automatically development follows. Because if you look at it very well, the world has more than 50 women, but they are marginalized. So if they realize the importance of these women, I think a lot of things will change. That is giving what is worth a woman. What is for the woman is hers. I think a lot of things will change. 7 women were awarded with the 2022 Excellence Award for enhancing development's life. Amongst was Binono Flora, a bike repairer technician in Bamenda. March past and celebrations grace the day.
Yesterday, March 8 marked the 37th edition of the International Women's Day celebration, and in Cameroon, women all over the National Triangle joined their peers worldwide to give the day the grandeur it deserves. In Douala, Nolinga joined the women in celebrating this year's edition as she put this report together.
Celebrating under the theme Gender Equality, today for a sustainable tomorrow, women of all age groups and walks of life from every nook and cranny in the city of Douala have joined their peers worldwide in commemorating the International Women's Day. Joining them to celebrate during this 37th edition was the Littoral Governor Samuel Ivaha Diboa, who has seized the opportunity in addressing some regional problems.
People want Douala to be in the fire. I would say that there's no way. Teachers have the problem and the government is doing its best to solve the problem. The government will solve that problem. Concerning those who want children or people to be caught in jail, they have missed their goal.
In addition, the governor has also applauded the massive turnout of the women while calling on the need for responsible feasting behaviors.
We have seen how the women have they demonstrated, they have make a past march here and other activities in our littoral region. So we are proud of what the women are doing here, and let's just go and continue the feast at the level of the family now.
On a day usually set aside to enable women break gender barriers and bias, many have been caught on camera delving masculine-oriented tasks such as drumming, trumpeting, escort riding, driving, amongst others. Talking to some of the women, here now is their knowledge of what they are celebrating. Away from the organized and patriotic March Past parade, the day has also been characterized with the recognition of some outstanding women, plus the display of cultural dances to call it a day.
Relatively in the Southwest region, the 37th edition of the International Women's Day, celebrated under the theme Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, saw a massive turnout as women of the Limbe 3 subdivision of the Southwest region of Cameroon came out in their numbers to celebrate the event. Catherine Kongwe with details.
Women in Limbe 3 subdivision have been called upon to be self-reliant and independent in order to achieve the set goals of gender equality for a sustainable future. The call was made by the divisional officer for Limbe 3 subdivision, Ewane, during the celebration of the 37th edition to commemorate the International Women's Day.
We really need to make sure we have or to lay emphasis on as a woman. We have to know that, first of all, we cannot overemphasize on educating the girl child. If the girl child is not educated, you don't expect any sustainable growth in the society. For those who are still keeping their girl children at home, we know that a lot has changed over time, but there are still some people who have that mentality that the girl child is meant to be in the kitchen. And for those who are still of that mentality, please, we urge you to stop thinking that way and educate your girl child.
The second deputy mayor for Limbe 3 subdivision, Jo Caroline, on her part called on women to be ambassadors of peace in their homes and train their children in an upright manner, taking into consideration the several distractions of the world with the advent of the internet. Representing the divisional delegate for women empowerment and the family for FACO, Karin Takere congratulated the Women's Forum of Limbe 3 subdivision and urged them to work together for a common interest, which is for their personal development and that of their families. Meantime, week-long activities to commemorate the 37th edition of the International Day in Limbe 3 witnessed socio-cultural activities such as traditional dances, playbacks, football encounters, pitching 8 different teams, just to name a few. The Limbe 3 Women Forum equally embarked on a door-to-door sensitization campaign to help women better understand the meaning of gender equality, thus reducing the gradient of physical violence amongst men within the municipality. The celebration ended with the award of prizes to participating teams and a visit to the exhibition stands floored with farm products from the fertile volcanic soil in Bimbia.
Still in Cameroon's southwest region, women showed up in their numbers at the ceremonial ground in Tiko to celebrate the International Women's Day. The writings on their placards carried messages towards elevating the girl child so that she does not lag behind. The second deputy mayor for Tiko Council encouraged the education of the girl child, saying that it must be given priority, as Nora Kibi tells us.
Thousands of women in Tiko subdivision in the restive Southwest region joined their counterparts across the nation to celebrate the 37th edition of the International Women's Day under the theme Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. Women from all walks of life and from different organizations, both public and private, in the Tiko municipality graced the ceremonial ground with their colorful and distinguished Women's Day fabric. They marched past the grandstand carrying placards while communicating several messages aimed at creating awareness and empowering the women folk in every way possible. The divisional officer for Tiko subdivision, Vo Armstrong, in his opening remarks implored the celebrants to observe a moment of silence for the fallen heroes in the likes of the Dio of Ekondotiti and the mayor who passed on recently while on a contact tour within their jurisdiction.
A minute of silence. Thank you very much as we pray for the repose of their souls.
On her part, the second deputy mayor of the Tiko Council, Elmina Ngumba, called on every woman to be conscious of this day and make education for the girl child imperative in their lives. She emphasized on education for the girl child so that they may fit into the society in various capacities, assuming every other form of responsibilities in order to build the nation and why not larger societies. The celebrations, which started peacefully, also ended peacefully with dances performed by a group of young women.
Nora Kebi reporting there. Now, just like in other parts of the country, women in Kribi Ocean Division of the South region of Cameroon also answered present as they joined counterparts worldwide to celebrate the event. In this report, Nolinga now tells us what special touch the women gave to honor the day. Her report.
This is the Kribi ceremonial grandstand where women turned out massively to celebrate the 37th edition of the International Women's Day after 2 years without outdoor manifestations due to the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic. During this 37th edition was the senior divisional officer for the Ocean Division, Nuhu Bello, who has applauded the women for their social, economic, cultural and political achievements in the division while enjoining them to continue playing an active role in the promotion of sustainable development.
Mariés ou en concubinage, femmes sans emploi, divorcées, femmes illettrées, femmes instrumentalisées, femmes déshéritées, bonne fête.
The women from different associations, the private and public enterprises, painted the Ocean Division with their colorful Women's Day regalia as they carried along placards communicating symbolic messages promoting diversity, equality and inclusion, while many celebrated in line with this year's theme, Gender Equality for a Sustainable Tomorrow.
In a related story, as women gathered on ceremonial grounds across the national territory and globally to celebrate the 37th edition of the International Women's Day, a majority of men in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon, are totally against the initiative, voicing reasons why they think the celebration has no place. Get more details in the report that follows. Thus is yet to settle on this year's edition of the International Women's Day celebration in Cameroon, which had as theme Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. However, the perception of some men about the event is quite negative, while others are very positive about the Women's Day celebration. For those who belong to the school of thought that the Women's Day is worth celebrating, for those who belong to the school of thought that the woman is worth celebrating, they had the following reasons.
Je pense que la journée internationale de la femme, c'est une journée qui a sa place parce que les femmes font partie intégrante.
I think that the International Women's Day has its place because women make an integral part of the big Cameroonian and African society, and they have a very big and important role to play. So the women should sit down together today as they celebrate and discourse on the way forward and the domains in which they need to work hard and add value to the society. They should also respect themselves.
On les souhaite de passer une excellente journée, pas d'abus, et puis bon, voilà.
On the other hand, are those who belong to the negative side or the school of thought that says the event serves no purpose. What is 8 March? What is Women's Day?
C'est même pas avoir la fête, parce que ça ne sert à rien. Il n'y aura jamais égalité entre femmes et hommes. C'est toujours l'homme qui sera au-dessus. Donc laissez-nous avec vos histoires.
It is not even an event because it serves no purpose. There will never be equality between a man and a woman. So leave us without your story. I have given my opinion, and really, that event has no place. If we say the woman has to put on the trousers, she should be able to take care of the expenses at home, all expenses at home. But you women that I know, if you were given money like us men, then you people would just grind us.
Tel que je connais les femmes là, si on vous donnait l'argent comme les hommes, c'est que nous on ne fait plus rien. C'est que vous nous écrasez seulement.
Meantime, some men even got very aggressive when the subject matter was mentioned.
Sont des déracinés. Dans combien de familles on parle la langue maternelle? Parce que on voit que les nouvelles les affaires, les civilisations occidentales ont rempli, ont traumatisé, ont formaté la tête des Africains. Et on a de 8 mars. Quand les petits enfants sont alignés dedans, on leur met les robes de 8 mars. Ça sert à quoi? Après quoi encore? Après, pendant le 8 mars, on voit des dérives de toute nature, de la dépravation, de l'impudicité à outrance. Et c'est ça, c'est cet avilissement que les Occidentaux aiment, et puis ils se moquent de nous, et nous demeurons dans la moquerie, dans le noir. Nous n'allons jamais nous développer. Le 8 mars, c'est banni, carton rouge au 8 mars.
It is worth mentioning that, from time immemorial, the celebration of the International Women's Day has met rejection from not only the men, but women themselves who fail to understand the day's symbolism. You're welcome back. Now on to something else. The high rate of insecurity and crime in Yaoundé has been blamed to a greater extent on the high consumption of drugs of all kinds by most youth, with statistics showing 61%. Colette Lum went finding out from some city dwellers the role parents play to help educate this ill amongst these youths. She equally sought to know from some of these youths who spoke behind the camera on why they got involved, as well as sampling the opinion of a drug expert on some solutions to be made. Her report.
Drugs are chemical compounds that affect the mind and body, according to Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary. Some drugs include cocaine, marijuana, tramadol, just to name these. Following persistent cases of drug consumption in the country by most young youths, there is an urgent need for effective actions in this domain to curb this phenomenon. Going by statistics, the increased consumption of drugs is at 61% with youth in the center region. The causes are enormous.
Drugs and drug addiction and drug distribution. I think it's critically important to think about how quality of life issues have been compromised in many ways. The majority of folks who are in hand-to-hand, open-air drug markets engaging in that work to get rich, right? Most of those folks are engaging in that work to eat. So in many cases, you have families for generations who have only been able to survive because those support networks have all been taken away. So if you have a felony in Illinois, you can't hold almost 60 jobs. You can't be an electrician, you can't teach. So this thing around looking at how disenfranchisement negatively affects communities, this kind of long-term imprisonment for people for nonviolent drug offenses doesn't work at all. Networks in place, but I don't think you should have treatment over here, education over here.
It is worth noting that the effects of drugs are devastating, going by medics, some of which are extreme sensitivity to touch, sound and sight, anger, paranoid, feeling, decreased appetite. The $1 million question is if parents assist these kids in the eradication of drug consumption.
First and foremostly, we the parents have the responsibility to control our kids in so many activities they perform.
As parents, we need to advise our children, give them moral instruction how to behave in the society, because sometimes when we see this type of things happening is the type of friends that the children are mixing around with them. So for this one, I can give advice to the parents that they should give their children moral instruction.
Therefore, while parents and society implement measures to combat the phenomenon,
youth must be responsible as well.
30-year-old Nsungkikang EILEEN Alliance has been embarking into humanitarian action in different communities in Cameroon. Through her Imelda Aid Foundation, she has reached out to several communities with vulnerable persons in Cameroon, where she uses proceeds from her business to feed and cater for the needy. Nsungkikang Dimbe reports from Kumba.
I have passion for the week. I always feel like helping people put a smile on their face, so that has been my passion.
EILEEN Alliance is a humanitarian lady born some 30 years ago in Ekumbe, Mbonge subdivision in Meme division. She has been using proceeds from her business in blessing lives by reaching out to the needy in the various parts of Cameroon.
I've been to Bafoussam, Bangante, Yaoundé, Mbanga, so many places. I can't really name them. There's so many places. Chang, Bamenda, so many places.
Doing this even when she was growing up as a young girl, selling local delicacy, koki, this lady fits herself so well into the shoes of the less privileged. Reason why she, through her Imelda Aid Foundation, has for over 7 years been helping widows, widowers, orphans, school children, internally displaced persons, and even cleaning those with mental instability and clothing them.
So I always put myself in other people's place. Like, if you meet people that are hungry, you just need to make sure you give them food. Because if I have like 10 million, I eat it at least. It's not really okay. You just need to share. So what I do here is like, I always put myself to their place. If I was in the same condition, someone would normally help me.
She also takes her project to the single mothers and other vulnerable women by providing them with baby care needs. She provides accommodation to some internally displaced persons and even provides startup capitals for most of them.
I have passion for humanitarian work. I love humanitarian work. I don't think there's nothing in there. It's just normal. When you do it, after that you just feel fulfilled in your spirit. You feel happy that you have saved a soul, you have helped someone, you have put a smile on someone's face.
She promised to continue doing humanitarian works as long as she lives. The Imelda Aid Foundation has its headquarters in Kumba, Meme division of the Southwest region, where this young lady has adopted several children and bringing them all. She also extends her largesse to widows, and school children.
The ones that sent to school, the ones that are sick for them to go to work, so many of them, widows, orphans, the handicapped, so many.
Nsungkikang Dimbe reporting there from Kumba. Now on our health page, Bokengo Worthy raises awareness regarding bleeding disorders, highlighting the causes, symptoms, prevention and management of the health condition. Her report.
Bleeding disorders is a health condition that affects the normal process of blood clot. Characterized by a defect in platelet functioning, the health condition possesses mild to severe symptoms such as heavy bleeding during menstruation, excessive bleeding after surgery, swollen joints, blood in urine, coughing and vomiting of blood, prolonged nosebleed, dizziness, headache, and many more, which most often may be treated likely by sufferers who over time may have gotten used to the symptoms due to reoccurrence. Being both an acquired and a hereditary disorder, with the most common forms including hemophilia A, hemophilia B, and von Willebrand disease, the signs, symptoms, triggers, risk factors, as well as causes may differ on the type of bleeding disorder as well as its severity. Around the world, more than 1 million persons suffer from inherited bleeding disorder, with an estimated 418,000 of them suffering from a severe version,
which is mostly undiagnosed and can lead to death over time. It is worth mentioning that undiagnosed bleeding disorders can be dangerous, especially for women, as it increases the risk of excessive bleeding during childbirth, a miscarriage, and death in cases of abortion. Nonetheless, experts say joint x-rays, regular blood tests, physical therapy, regular general checkup are ways to help prevent and manage bleeding disorders as well as reduce the prevalence worldwide.
Okengo's Worthy's Health Report concludes today's edition of Prime News. With me, EILEEN Sama. The news was produced by Ewane, compiled by Lasha Kingsley. Many thanks for your keen and kind attention, but do stay tuned to Prime Hour coming up next week. Leonard and his team and the rest of programs on My Media Prime tonight. Have a blessed night. Until tomorrow, stay blessed.